from the infamous play The Woman in Black. So The Woman in Black is actually one of the most popular pieces of horror theater of all time. Recently made into a film starring Daniel Radcliffe. By recently, I mean like within the last 5 to 10 years, so maybe not all that recent. So The Woman in Black is actually a very interestingly structured play. The protagonist of our story is a man named Kipps, who is a lawyer who, when he was in his early 20s, was called to settle the estate of a woman named Mrs. Drablow, who had recently died. She lived in a house called Eel Marsh House in a village called Crithen Gifford. If you can think of a more British name for a village than Crithen Gifford, I will give you my next paycheck. So he goes to this estate to try to settle the estate, and while he's there, he has some really horrifying experiences with the woman in black. However, we already know that Kipps survives this instance because the way the play is structured, it's actually Kipps about 40 years later telling the story. He has hired an actor to help him tell the story. His goal is to try to convincingly portray this really harrowing event to friends and family. So he hires an actor to help him tell the story. So the play is actually set in a theater. As such, the movements in the play are very abstract. There is no real set. It's not like there are rooms that he moves through. So all of the storytelling is done through lighting and sound design, which made it a really interesting challenge for both our actors and our designers for this piece. So in this piece, we have Kipps played by Noah, the actor played by Daniel, and Lucy will be making an appearance as the woman in black. Ready to go?
Ready.
Sound team, ready to go?
Yeah.
Props team, ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, look at that.
Another day or two will be done. It's time for bed. Come, Spider. Did Mr. Daly let me take you home with me to London? I wonder. You'd like Stella. Not sure you'd like London. Good night now. Good night.
Kipps falls asleep with his trusty dog Spider at his side, but suddenly in the middle of the night he is awoken.
What is it, Spider? What is it?
From the depths of the house comes a sound.
Good girl. Good girl.
Then from out on the marshes comes the sound of a child's cry.
No. The slightest of breezes. Nothing more.
Kipps goes back to bed, feeling restless, but sleeps nonetheless.
In the morning, he awakens to find a change in the weather. When he looks out, he can hardly see the difference between land and water, water and sky. All is a uniform gray with a low, thick cloud and a drizzle.
I cycled back to Crithen, Spider bounding behind me. There was a letter from Stella, full of exclamations of regret at my absence and pride in my responsibility. I had the landlord's wife refill my hamper, purchased a good, strong torch, and with the letter warming my inside pocket, cycled back, whistling as I went.
He works through the day, clearing paper after paper, and then after supper, as a diversion, he begins to read some letters he has found.
They were dated between in February of about 60 years ago and the summer of the following year. They were first sent from the manor house of a village some 20 miles from here, and later from a lodge in Scotland. All were addressed to my dear, or dearest Alice, and signed for the most part J, but occasionally Janet. The writer, a young woman and apparently a relative of Mrs. Drablow, was unmarried and with child. At first, she was still living at home with her parents. Later, she was sent away.
In Scotland, the son is born to her and she writes of him with clinging affection. Pressure is being put on her to give him up for adoption, but she refuses, saying over and over again that they will never be parted.
He is mine. Why should not have what is mine? He shall not go to strangers. I shall kill us both before I let him go.
And then the tone changes.
What else can I do? I am quite helpless. If you and Morgan are traveling, I shall mind it less. I suppose it must be.
but the last letter of all was written in a very small, cramped hand.
Love him, take care of him as your own. But remember, he is mine. Mine, he can never be yours. Oh, forgive me, I think my heart will break. Jack.
In the same packet is a simple document declaring that Nathaniel Pearson, infant son of Jeanette Humphrey, is to become by adoption of Morgan Thomas Drablow of Eel Marsh House, and of his Kristen Gifford, and of his wife, Alice.
Silence. Then Kip suddenly hears that the dog is startled.
What is it, Spider? Stay with me, Spider. Stay with me.
It's a child's nursery with a bed in one corner, complete with pillows, sheets, and counterpane. Beside it, on a small table, is a small wooden horse and a nightlight. In the chest of drawers are clothes. Formal clothes, day clothes, underclothes, play clothes, clothes for a small boy 6 or 7. Beautiful, well-made clothes in style of 60 years or more ago. Toys, most neatly and methodically ordered and cared for. Lead soldiers, arranged in regiments. A farm, settled with barns and fences. A model ship, complete with masts and sails of linen. A whip, a spinning top. Ludo, Halma, drops and chest. A monkey made of leather. A cat of wool. A furry bear. A miniature trumpet. A basic musical box from Switzerland. A bald doll with china head and a sailor suit, and a black doll with raggedy arms and legs.
We must have been here half a century. I think they might have been played with this afternoon. There's nothing here to frighten or harm me. Only emptiness. A curious air of sadness. Something lost. Missing. So that I myself felt the desolation. A grief in my own heart. How can I explain? I cannot, but I remember it as I felt it. The torch! Where is the spider? Where is it? Thank God.
From outside comes the sound of someone whistling, as one whistles a dog.
Let it be morning. Let it be light. Spider? Who's it, Spider? Who's it, girl?
Before he can restrain her, she is off, as though after her hair, running low and fast, away out of the house and across the marshes.
Spider, come back! Come back, Spider!